5, 6, 7, 8.
Deleted. Yeah, deleted.
Deleted. Cut it out. Put it on the floor.
Deleted or additional. Verdict's out on that.
Yeah.
Lots of verdicts to be made today, but the jury's still out on whether or not it's a deleted or an additional scene. Let's figure it out. Yeah. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Gilmore to Say with Tara and Haley. I'm Tara. This is Haley. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Tara.
Oh, I loved that. Hi.
Little jazz hands?
Yeah.
I feel like this could be a very visual episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're joining us on YouTube, you can see that I am I'm a heating pad. I have my pillow behind me. I'm hurting today. I'm going through it. I've had like back and neck issues for the last week. Yeah. So if you're joining us here, that's why I have nice little comfy, cozy vibe going on. But also, if you're not with us on YouTube, you should be, because it's going to be a very visual episode today.
Yes, very, very visual. Because it'll also be very auditory.
Oh, of course. It always is.
Talking through it.
But the reason it's such a visual episode is because we're here to talk about deleted scenes today. I'm really excited because I don't think that these were scenes that I necessarily watched growing up, because I watched with the DVDs, and all of a sudden, if you popped in disc 6, you'd be like, oh my God, there's bonus content. There are additional
bonus
scenes.
Content.
Yeah.
No, there are some of them though that, like, gun to my head, I would have told you they were in the episode.
I know. Actually, we had this kind of debate in our comments going on. Remember 2 years ago, we posted the one from There's the Rub, and everybody kept saying,
rub. Yeah.
No, this was in the episode. I'm like, it actually wasn't. And they were ready to fight us and be like, it was in the episode. I'm like, oh, I don't know which episode you watched, but that's one of my favorite episodes. And I can tell you this is not actually in the episode. But honestly, there are some of them that I was like, I've seen this so many times, I would have thought it was.
Yeah. Funny though, talking about There's the Rub, we talked to Sheila and we told her that was a bonus scene. That was a deleted scene. She was like, I remember the scene. I didn't know it didn't make it into the episode.
Isn't that crazy? I have a question about that later for one of the scenes, actually in season 3.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. All right. I think I know your thoughts on a lot of these, or the verdict that you will come up with, whether or not they should have been in the episode, because we're only doing 1 through 4. And so on Patreon, we will watch the bonus scene beforehand and kind of talk about it where it's supposed to go in the episode, and whether or not we liked it there or it was useful. Because some of them are just like such a wash.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're like, what? You really couldn't leave those 10 seconds?
Truly. There was one that I think was 30 seconds.
Yeah. Some of them, though, they like change the tone of what's going on.
They really do, yeah. Because some of them are lengthy. Some of them are like 2+ minutes of content that they cut. Now, the thing is that we didn't really start looking at the deleted scenes until season 2. In the season 1 DVD box set booklet, there's no little icon next to it saying like, check out an additional scene or check out a bonus scene.
Deleted scene.
It does say additional
scene
scenes.
Not in this episode.
Yeah, it does say additional scenes at the end on disc 6, but in future DVD booklets, it'll tell you when you look at the episode that there is an additional scene to check out on disc 6. So I don't know that we actually did this for season 1. So I don't really know how you'll feel. Yeah. And I had to come up with how I felt about season 1. But all the other ones we did talk about on Patreon, because we would watch them beforehand. Yeah. We kind of chat about whether or not they were. I don't know that we actually came to a verdict, though.
No, I think we kind of just talked about whether we liked them or like if it was even necessary.
And broke them down the same way that we would break down any scene on Patreon and Gilmore Revisited. But I'm really excited about going through these. We're only going to do seasons 1 through 4 because we, of course, just finished season 4 on Patreon, as we have famously stated over and over and over again, because we loved it.
Loved it.
And so we thought it would be best to just do seasons 1 through 4 because I think our verdicts will be a lot more accurate. I think that watching scenes from like 5 through 7 when we haven't gotten there on Patreon yet, we haven't done like our deep dive on them, will be it'll probably change. So this will be part 1, I guess, of a maybe 2-part deleted scenes episode that we'll do when we're done with all the episodes on Patreon.
Oh my gosh. We'll do part 2 in fall 2025.
Oh my God. You're so right. Do you think that there are any deleted scenes from A Year in the Life?
Ooh. I don't know.
I wonder.
I have no idea.
Because I don't think
I know there's some from season 7.
Time. Yes, I actually saw like the previews for them on YouTube when I looked these up. So if you are joining us on YouTube, you'll be able to see the scenes in between when we're talking about them. But if you're not with us on YouTube, we'll actually put the links in our show description so that you can watch them yourself. But I think it's always fun to watch together. So the first one we're going to start with is from season 1, Love and War and Snow.
This is actually the one that I hadn't seen before.
I had not seen this one before either. There were 2 in the season I had never seen. And so we're going to start with Love and War and Snow.
So, in here is the kitchen / dining room.
Oh, it's convenient.
And, this is the living room.
It's nice. Homey. So what's up there?
Up there? Oh, well, that's my room.
Ah. Is it big?
Not bad.
Any windows?
4.
Curtains?
Lace.
Carpeting?
Area rug.
Futon?
Bed.
King?
Queen.
So you want
Some coffee?
Love some.
So a little recap. This is after Lorelai and Max approach her house and she's like torn about whether or not she's going to invite him in. And they just walked through the snow. It was so romantic. And so she agrees for him to come in. And the next scene that we see with them is them in the kitchen making the coffee. But there's actually this little scene in between where Max comes in and she's like, you know, showing him to the living room and he looks up the stairs and he basically is like, so what's up there? And they have this conversation that reminds me so much of Andy and Ben in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Do you remember that scene at the bar?
Oh my God, you are so right.
The one word
it does.
back and forth.
Yes.
Like, I love the
Yeah.
way that it was written because it's very Kate Hudson, Matthew McConaughey, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
You're
But
so right.
I don't know that we necessarily needed it.
No. Okay, so my verdict for this was no. I wrote nice banter because I think that, like, that's the thing is, like, Max and Lorelai really had that, like, in that episode, Love and War and Snow, the two of them just, like, really clicked. It's like from the moment their eyes met in the snow,
Totally.
seeing each other there.
Yeah.
But the reason I wouldn't include it is because the weird-ass camera angle.
Oh my God, that camera angle was so strange. That was so weird.
If you haven't seen it, it, like, drops down and then it, like, is an upward angle of, like, the two of them looking up at, like, the balcony
Yeah.
that doesn't exist in Lorelai's house.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's almost like a catwalk that, like, you can, like, see over.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
I know.
What is going
It's a
on
weird
here?
shot
Like,
and an angle that we never get in this show. So
it's also really unflattering. Like, I feel like actors would never want, like, a camera
filmed
angle
from
like,
below, no.
from below. Like, it felt weird. Like, the moment
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is cute, we could have left this in, but the moment that the camera dropped, I was like, cut it.
No, and it is very short. So I don't know
Yeah.
that they cut it necessarily for time. I feel like they cut it for the angle. It's kind of
Yeah.
ugly.
And I know that, like, early on in the show, they hadn't, like, perfectly established the way that, like, the camera moves and, like, because Amy has, like, a very signature sort of way that she shoots things, but that was not it. And I'm glad they got rid of it.
I am too. And also it gets the point across. You know, there's this
Yeah.
potential of the two of them sleeping together, spending the night together. We get that anyway. It's not like we lost
Yeah.
anything by losing this scene. So for me, it's a no.
No.
Verdict? It's a no.
No. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad we agree.
I know, me too. I think we
We'll
might
see what
agree on a
happens.
lot of them. I don't know.
I think we will too.
Let's find out. So the next scene is Forgiveness and Stuff, also season 1. Very, very popular episode. And I think this is one that a lot of people have seen. It's a deleted
Yeah.
scene between Emily and Lorelai in the cafeteria at the hospital when Richard gets angina, famous angina on the show. You know we love it.
Tara's favorite.
You know, they love angina. And this scene it takes place towards the end of the episode. Richard is okay. He's fine. Emily's going to stay. Lorelai decides to stay and has Luke take Rory home. So it's just Emily and Lorelai. And she asks her, do you want to go down to the cafeteria and get something to eat? And then you see them walking away. And in the cut that actually made it to air, they kind of start playing this like jingle bell type music behind it. And then it cuts to the end scene, which of course is Luke and Lorelai at Luke's diner. And she gives him the blue baseball cap. But in the middle of
Yes.
this was a deleted scene between Emily and Lorelai actually going to the cafeteria.
You're not seriously going to eat that.
No, Mom, I'm gonna throw it in my face and pretend I'm at a Gallagher show.
Well, at least get something substantial to go with it.
Like what?
Like stew.
1 stew, please? Well, aren't you gonna eat something?
I'm not hungry.
2 stews, please.
I can't remember the last time I felt so exhausted.
It's been a pretty exciting night.
I can do without so much excitement.
Well, that'll be out soon. All will be well.
Yes. I suppose you're right. Thank God he's okay.
Yeah.
Well, eat up. You don't want to wait until it gets cold. God knows what it tastes like hot. What?
You just couldn't let me out of Friday night dinner, could you?
So basically what happens is they're in a cafeteria. It's very scene in a mall. It's very, Emily is
Yeah.
very out of her depths here. She's in a cafeteria, she's got a tray, she has
Yeah.
no idea what to do with it. And I love that she asks Lorelai, like, are you going to eat that? About I think it's Jell-O. And Lorelai makes a Gallagher joke. Gallagher is a comedian who is known for his signature move of smashing watermelon on stage with a wooden sledgehammer. He called it the sledge-o-matic. So she says something about like smashing it to her face and pulling a Gallagher. And I didn't know what that meant until I looked it up. So it's a very fun little pop culture reference. But Lorelai is really just trying to get her mom to eat something. She's trying to get her to lighten the mood. They get these like little cups of stew and they sit down and Lorelai starts laughing and she's like, you could not get me out of Friday night dinner, could you? I love it. It's so sweet.
It was so cute. Also, nothing lightens the mood like stew from a hospital.
I love stew. Have you ever had hospital stew?
No,
Can't say I
most stews are
have.
beef. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a stew girl, admittedly. But when she says thank God he's okay, I like teared up a little bit.
I did too, but also I was so
context.
distracted by the fact that she looked a mess. Don't blame her. But she looked a mess.
She really does. When she said that she'd never been this exhausted before, I was like, yeah,
And it shows.
I bet. Which, like, rarely I feel like on TV do they actually look as exhausted as they say they are or would be in the context of the narrative.
So true.
But it was cute. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I think they could have left it in, admittedly, my verdict.
Was that your verdict?
Yeah.
So here's my verdict. I think the scene on its own, like standing alone, is a great scene. However, after watching the episode as it was, the way I just described, where like Lorelai's kind of being quippy as they walk away to go to the cafeteria and the music starts playing and then it cuts to Stars Hollow, that transition was just so nice. And I think that it kind of what you were talking about before, I think it would have brought the mood down a little bit. Like it kind of ends on a bit of a like classic Amy Sherman Palladino, something is heavy, but we're going to end it with a joke. And she does that in the scene with like, you couldn't get me out of Friday night dinner. It is a joke, but it's also very endearing. And I don't know that that would have been a seamless transition from the hospital to back to Stars Hollow for that last moment. I think that the way that it was executed, despite the fact that I really liked the scene, if it was somewhere else maybe, but because it was at the tail end, like if it was a situation where like when Rory is reading to Richard, when she's reading him the paper and Lorelai's like, come on, Mom, let's go to the cafeteria. If it was one of those things where she was using it as an excuse, remember she keeps using it, like all these different excuses to not go in the room and see Richard.
Yeah.
I think that had she been in a position where she was like, come on, Mom, let's go to the cafeteria, I think that then I would have wanted it to stay. But it being the tail end before we reach the last scene of the episode, given how they chose to end the episode, I just don't think we needed it.
Yeah, I don't think we needed it, but I think given the fact that this is like our only like true Christmas episode, other than Santa's Secret Stuff, which like still isn't really a Christmas episode, it takes place after Christmas, I think like the sentimental moment between them was like warranted because I think that the one before ends like, you know, like they've been in a fight and she got uninvited or decided not to go. She got uninvited, didn't she?
She got uninvited.
From getting her little apple tarts as she wanted.
She's not going to get the tarts.
She's so sad. It's apple tarts, right?
Yeah.
Why am I doubting all of a sudden?
It's been a minute since we watched season 1.
It's been a minute since season 1.
It's been over a year.
2022.
It's been like 2 years. Yeah.
But I think that like the quippiness of that is so Gilmore Girls, the way that that ended. Like it's just like they're not on like in a perfect place between the two of them, but it's fun. And then we jingle bell to Luke's. I really like it. But I think that we could have worked in the like feeling there of like having that sentimental moment for the holidays between the two of them.
Well, riddle me this. if she's like, do you want to go down to the cafeteria to get something to eat? And they're starting to walk away. And she goes, you just couldn't let me out of Friday night dinner, could you?
I could see that.
You know, like what if
Yeah.
we split the difference? I think that could have been
Yeah.
fun.
I like that.
If that was like the parting
Read our
line.
own scene.
Yeah. We just wrote our own scene. Shocking for
Yeah.
us.
There we go. Yeah. I actually could go either way on that.
Yeah.
Before I was like, this was cute. Let's leave it in.
It's because there are some scenes here that we're about to talk about where the scene alone, like standing on its own, I'm like, oh, I love it. But when you zoom out and you look at the bigger picture, it's like, how they did it actually. I don't know if it's just because that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to watching. But,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
objectively,
another
it's
part
like
of
I
it.
get why it hit the cutting room floor. I don't feel that way about all the scenes, but we'll get into that.
Oh, yeah.
So the next scene is Emily in Wonderland. It's between Emily and Rory. Rory has taken Emily to their house because they're going to go antiquing together. Emily's shoes like famously get stuck in the mud and she has to clean them off with this cleaner that Lorelai bought that can like wax your car and clean your windows and stuff. It's like a magic thing. Anyway, so she cleans the shoes and then Emily realizes that they're going to be walking around in town all day to go to this antique store. So Rory runs upstairs and says, you can borrow some of mom's shoes. And Emily says something about like, I don't want anything that purrs or vibrates or like it sounds or lights up. And that's
I love that.
where they end the scene. But there is a scene that hit the cutting room floor that happens after that at Lorelai's house.
Here we go. Nothing strange or unusual.
How old were you here?
I don't know, 2 maybe?
You make a good pumpkin.
Mom made that outfit. And she was so proud that she made me wear it for the next couple of years until I grew out of it.
Yes, well, let's see those shoes.
You know, we should get some pictures of you and Grandpa to put up there.
I don't think these are going to fit.
Maybe we could all take a picture together. You know, we could dress up all fancy and let's stand around looking serious next to a bowl of fruit.
They're supposed to go like this.
What do you think?
I think they look ridiculous.
I mean about the picture.
Rory.
Mom would want it too, even if she says she wouldn't.
Well, if you really want it, I'll set it up.
Great. Okay, let's go.
So to kind of recap it all, Emily is looking at the mantle of pictures that Lorelai has of her and Rory, and Rory is dressed as a pumpkin. It's a picture we've never seen before. Like, it's not one that is ever referenced in the show again, to my knowledge anyway. But I think that it's meant to kind of evoke this feeling in Emily that she really still resents Lorelai because she missed out on Rory's upbringing. And so she asks Rory about the picture. Rory comes downstairs with the sneakers and the socks that Emily ends up wearing, and they sit down for her to put them on. And Rory suggests that the two of them, kind of come together to get this picture of the 4 of them, Lorelai, Rory, Emily, Richard, to put on the mantle. And Emily's dodging the question the whole time. She's like using it as an excuse to like be like, I don't think these shoes are going to fit. She won't answer the question, but then eventually like reluctantly agrees because she thinks that it would be really nice. But you can tell that it kind of hurts her. She doesn't really want to do it. And she says like for Rory, she'll arrange it. And that's the end of the scene.
That's the whole thing. I do love when she says, you make a good pumpkin to Rory.
She does. You make a good
She does make a good pumpkin.
She does.
But it's vaguely reminiscent of both the pilot when Lorelai is looking at all the pictures on the mantle and of Rory's birthday parties when Emily finds the picture of her with the broken leg.
Yes.
And I thought that it was too similar to that one.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a little bit of a repeat. Like it was cute. I, for some reason, loved watching Kelly Bishop put like her socks on, something about that, and then Rory like rolled them down for her so they weren't like pulled up so tight.
Totally.
I thought that was like super sweet and endearing. But verdict, I thought that it was too redundant to that first one, and it didn't land as hard because we had already seen it.
Totally,
because there's some plenty of heartbreaking moments in that episode, and as much as I liked it and as cute as it was, I thought that it was a good choice to cut it from the episode.
I completely agree. That actually wasn't my reason. I did say that I felt like it kind of makes the moment where Emily is at the potting shed and she sees where Rory and Lorelai chose to grow up instead of being at her house. I think it makes that moment more like evident that there's an overwhelming sadness within Emily rather than catching a glimpse of it beforehand only to see it really, really take over at the potting shed. I think that moment is much more powerful and it packs more of a punch standing on its own, especially coming off of a very lovely day, a very like fun-filled, light-hearted day with Rory.
Yeah.
The other reason, and honestly, like more of a cinematography angle, like an editing angle, that I think that it's better the way that it was actually edited is because I love the reveal of the sneakers.
I know. I think seeing her put them on is like so cute, but seeing her in them and looking like a major yuppie, like it's just
so good. Like the fact that she's
cute.
like, I'm not wearing anything that lights up or purrs or rings or whatever. And then the next shot of her is her in her sneakers walking around town going, I look ridiculous. It's just so perfect.
Yeah, it's so much better.
It is.
Yeah. Though I will say I could see that scene working well to like build up to the like scene.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is we already know that Emily feels that way.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of like hitting you over the head
Yeah,
with it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I kind of
that
like
when
the
she
idea
finally
of it.
sees it.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like the idea of it being a little lighthearted. They're having fun. She likes Mrs. Kim. She goes to the inn and is like, you know, actually kind of being lighthearted with Lorelai. And it seems like everything's going well only for it to crash down. It's like, I think if we had that moment in between, it just would have hit differently.
Yeah. If Emily was one of those people who like, you know, was kind of hiding her resentment of it.
Yeah.
And we needed like that externalization of what she was thinking,
Totally.
I would say yes. But like she makes her resentment perfectly well known.
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost better
Not a
that it's like
secret.
this lighthearted.
Emily's never kept a secret in
lighthearted
her
ep.
life.
No.
Emily Gilmore has
Except for
never
where
kept
she
her feelings a
was.
secret but once.
Except for that one time that she went to go buy a plane and she didn't tell anyone where she was.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
So that's all we have for season 1. Moving on to season 2, the very first episode, Sadie Sadie, we get a deleted scene, which I think a lot of people know about because there are a lot of photos from that scene.
Yes.
I think on the IMDb or in like the like still shots of this scene that if you had never seen the scene before, you'd be like, where the hell is this? Because Kirk is a mailman.
It's in the DVD booklet.
Oh,
like
that's
it's
right,
the
it
picture
is.
for the episode because
Yes.
there's so many daisies in their house and it just looks so fun and cool to
Yeah.
see the Lorelai's house like covered in daisies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even in the episode.
It's not. So
This is another one that I thought was in the episode. So when we went back and watched it,
honestly
because
same.
like it makes a lot of other things in the episode make sense.
Yeah, it really does. Now, I don't know where they were meant to put this. I imagine it was after everything that happens at Luke's diner. That's my guess. You know,
Yeah.
They-
or the cold open. I mean, or like after the cold open, after the intro, I mean.
yeah, but the cold open, I mean, I guess it could have worked. But remember, the cold open for Sadie Sadie is them walking through the street. And then the next scene is them still in the square going to Luke's. So it feels like it would be a little weird for them to be walking through the street, go home. Then the next scene is them walking
Yeah, I
through
guess it would have been after Luke's then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That really is the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah. But either way, regardless of where it is, it does really bring a lot of things full circle.
Do you have enough? Are you sure? Because, wait, I got more. Okay, bye.
What year is Max's car?
65 Mustang.
Good year.
What are you doing?
The Lorelai Gilmore Should I Marry Max Medina Procon list.
Oh, good. Another list.
Am I too late for some daisies?
No. Just take as many as you want.
It's turning out to be very interesting, actually.
I bet.
Pros. A career in academics, an excellent vocabulary, extremely smart, excellent collection of first editions, extensive knowledge of famous women in literature.
Oh my God, he sounds perfect for you. Hey, come on in. Just help yourselves.
Funny, good cooking skills, excellent sugar tolerance, smells good, showers frequently, opens doors, pulls out chairs.
Saves kittens from burning buildings, cape and tights, an excellent shade of red.
Excuse me, can I take this too?
No, it's just the flowers.
Oh, well, fine.
Better pipe up, because I got nothing under cons.
Okay, well, he's got a pair of elephant boxer shorts that are definitely a con.
Doesn't count.
The trunk moves.
Okay, it counts. And thank you for ensuring that I can never look at my English teacher again as long as I live.
My pleasure.
However, even with the creepy animal underwear, the pros are winning by a long shot. That has to be telling you something.
Rory, I'm not deciding whether or not I'm getting married off of a list. This is the most important decision in both of our lives, and we cannot take it lightly. So toss a coin or get out the crazy 8-ball.
I'm here to pick up some flowers for the post office.
Hey, Kirk,
You're avoiding the subject.
you're annoying the mother.
Is this the whole selection?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
I'll just have to make it work.
Max is perfect for you. He makes you happy. That makes me happy. And I think that I would like to have a Gilmore boy around the house.
So he's taking my name?
Of course.
Good, because I really like my driver's license picture.
Mom.
Listen, I'm really trying to be responsible here, okay?
Excuse me, Lorelai, I have to ask you something. There's a rumor going around town that you're getting married. Is this true?
I don't know yet, Kirk.
Because my mom married my dad and nothing good came of it.
Really?
Total disaster on every front. I just can't recommend it.
Thanks for sharing that, Kirk.
Information is our greatest weapon.
Hey,
Nat.
look.
No.
Okay, look, I am just trying to organize all of your arguments in black and white so that you can make the most rational, responsible decision possible. And the only way that that is going to happen is if you take this list, sit down, and try to come up with a con.
Rory, I got people coming in the house.
I can take care of the flowers. You just focus on that list.
Fine. Ah, he snores.
So do you.
Rats.
You're getting married.
So there's a lot to cover in this scene because it's very lengthy. But
Yeah, I
basically,
think this is the longest one.
it might be. It's very long. So they're at Lorelai's house, and her house is covered in daisies, which I don't understand why they didn't just leave them at the inn and have everybody come to the inn to pick them up.
We talked about this then.
Did we?
Because we were like, how on earth did Lorelai get
All of
1,000,
them.
which is way more than that, from the inn to her house? Like, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does
then,
not
and it doesn't make
compute.
sense now.
Yeah.
Just they could have been having this conversation at the inn.
Yeah, it's true.
It actually would have been funny
If it was
because,
at the
like,
inn.
all of the guests trying to like
Come in.
move around the
I think
daisies.
we said this.
Is
I'm having deja
I-
vu.
I'm,
We
like,
definitely
vaguely
said this on
remembering
Patreon.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
I just know we still feel the same.
But the thing is that in the midst of all of this, Rory is sitting on the couch in a sea of yellow daisies as there are literally townspeople coming in and taking daisies.
And the paper teacher.
The paper
She's trying to
teacher.
steal from the house.
Oh, was that her? That was
Yeah,
her.
that's
She's the
the-
one that comes in and goes, "Am I too late for some daisies?" I was like,
Yeah.
"No, ma'am." Like Lorelai looks around and is like, "No."
That's my favorite, like, running joke through this is that, like, Kirk is like, I guess this will have to do. Like, everyone is kind of just like, just, this is a standard amount of daisies.
But did you notice that Kirk is like, "Is this the selection? Sir, you
Yeah.
were the one who delivered them in the last episode. What do you mean, is this the selection? You literally
This is
delivered
it.
them. You were very proud to be the one who delivered them.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this the selection? Oh, they'll have to do. But he's dressed as a mailman, which then makes a lot of sense when we see him.
I think because he's the mailman.
Well, he's dressed as a mailman because he is the mailman. But like, you know, when we see them in Sadie, when she's like, well, like when the two of them are walking to Luke's and you can see Kirk in the background dressed as a mailman.
As the mailman.
It brings a lot of things full circle. You're like, huh, okay, that now makes a lot
There's
of
his job.
sense. Yeah. But the one thing that I really appreciated about this scene that brings it full circle, and one of the reasons for my verdict, with which I will reveal in a moment, is that Rory's making this pro-con list. And she basically
Yes.
forces Lorelai to sit down with this pro-con list to actually kind of really think about whether or not she's going to marry Max. And she puts it in her hand and she sits her down on the couch and then she goes up to her and goes, "You're getting married." And that's the end of the scene.
Well, yeah, because the whole scene, Rory's talking through making her pick a con because the pros are
Outweighing
great.
the cons.
The weirdest part of the scene is when Rory's listing the pros and Lorelai says, "So he's perfect for you," and I was
know, I'm
like
let's not go there.
that's that's a bit much, my dear. But yeah, I love that they say like we're gonna have a Gilmore boy.
Yeah,
and
he's gonna take my
like,
last name.
exactly. She likes her driver's license picture.
Yeah.
But like when we get to the end of it, yeah, she hands it to her because there's like no cons to be seen, and she says you're getting married.
And as many of you know, the end of this episode is Lorelai on her front porch with Max, and she has her ring finally, and she puts it on, looks at it, and says, I'm getting married. And so it's a beautiful full circle moment. And for that reason, the verdict for me is yes. This was a big scene. I think we needed this. Like that full circle, like beginning of the episode to the end of the episode, huge.
Yeah, I do. I will say I kind of wish this was the cold open.
I know.
And then
I wonder if it was intended to be the cold open. The cold open is great. No, I don't think so because of the like, I found love. And then like, you know, the way that they're kind of panning through the town and everybody has the daisies. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think it could have been a great cold open though, because then they're just in the town, like walking through to Luke's. Like I just think it would have made sense. But
I would love to know
think
why
we
it
said
hit
that
the
then
cutting room
too.
floor. I really want to know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why.
Unless they
but
filmed
like,
two cold opens and the one that they went with, they felt made more sense cohesively. But dialogue wise,
shorter.
It's shorter. Yeah. Dialogue wise, this was just so perfectly full circle, which makes sense because Amy wrote it. But man, I wish
it makes the end of it
sweeter
kind
and
of
different.
Yeah,
because we had said in our Patreon rewatch that we felt like her being like, I'm getting married. Like we really dissected that because we were like, okay, is this why you're marrying him? Because there's just something exciting about the prospect of marrying a man who wants to be with you because the other people in your life who you've wanted to be with in the past, i.e. Christopher, have either not been ready or like it wasn't the right time or, you know, you were in high school. And is it now a situation where you're like, oh, I'm getting married, and it's the prospect of getting married less the man you're marrying that's exciting to you?
But the weird part about it is that she's sitting with Max when she says, I'm getting married. And she should have said, we're getting married.
Yes.
And I almost felt like either of those. So like if we would have had this scene and then at the end had her say, I'm getting married, I still think it would have been weird. I wish we would have had this scene and been like, you're getting married. And then her be like, we're getting married. Like, I feel like that would have been the right way to go about that. Because
or if
it's
she
like,
was with Rory.
You're cuddling with him.
I know.
Yeah.
If she was with Rory, though, I think maybe it would have had a different tone to it. Because I think how we felt on Patreon was that we were like, he's right there. Include him. You're both getting married.
Why are you talking to no one?
Yeah.
His arm is
this
around
makes
you.
it make so much sense. And I really wish they kept it in.
Yeah. The weirdest part about this scene, though, is when she's talking about the fact that Max has elephant boxers and the trunk moves.
Oh, I didn't. I kind of clocked that, but I guess that went in one ear out the other.
I was like, I do not need to be talking about your daughter's future stepfather's
Well, isn't that when Rory's
boxers.
like, I'm never going to look at him the same way again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes you keep things to yourself.
Yeah,
Lorelai.
sometimes those are inside thoughts.
That's an inside thought for sure that you don't need to share with your daughter about why
Her
the
teacher.
trunk might move.
Or honestly, even just a guy that you're dating.
Yeah.
Don't say that
honestly,
to anyone.
Yeah.
So the second scene from season 2 that was cut is in Presenting Lorelai Gilmore. It's between Lorelai and Rory, and this is one of those scenes we were talking about that is so quick.
Yeah. It's almost like, wait, what kind of time did you guys run out of to include this? What's up?
Like blink and you missed it.
Yeah.
Did you try Grandma again?
Still not there.
I hope she's okay.
Oh, she's fine. You'll see. She'll be there tomorrow night and she'll be thrilled.
I hope so.
Sleep well. Tomorrow you're a woman. Sunday you start therapy. And a week from Tuesday the binge drinking begins.
Great. You know how I love a schedule.
Good night, hon.
Good night.
Because I was like excited to see a bonus scene from this episode when we were watching on Patreon. And then I played it and I was like, oh. Because Lorelai just walks into Rory's room, makes a couple quips about her becoming a woman. I think she says something about like, you'll go to therapy next and then you'll become a binge drinker. And
Sunday
Rory
you start
says,
therapy and a week from Tuesday the binge drinking begins.
Rory loves a schedule.
She loves a schedule.
And
That's
she
it.
closes the door and that's it. That's the whole
It
scene.
was so, this was the 30-second one that we were talking about. It was so throwaway, like blink and you'll miss it. They didn't need this. And I understand why it hit the cutting room floor because this is basically
Yeah.
taking place right before the big day. So there's that scene with Christopher and Dean like fixing his bow tie. And I think Lorelai's walking around the house with books on her head eating Kung Pao chicken, but she can't get in touch with her mom. Like after watching kind of the blow up between Emily and Richard at the house with the bulldog, what are they called?
Cufflinks?
Cufflinks, yeah. She got him new cufflinks. They've got bulldogs on them, she says. And then he's just like, I don't want them. I don't want bulldogs. I don't want to. You can go get my suit from the cleaners because he's all put out because he's stressed about work. And this is building up to the Bracebridge dinner where he ultimately reveals that he's retired. But this is when we get the first glimpse of them like really going at each other. And Lorelai witnessed it and witnesses Richard kind of tear her down over the quote unquote like frivolous parties that she so adoringly tends to and kind of gives her purpose. And so Lorelai finds it odd that now Emily's not calling her, which she probably knows why. But after an incessant, like, I have 11 pairs of pantyhose for Rory, and what kind of this does she want, and what kind of that does she want? So this is just kind of a tail end to that scene, but I don't think we needed it. Verdict for me was nope. This was 30 seconds we did not need. Thank you for cutting it.
I wrote, no, useless.
Truly.
Just great job on cutting it.
Yeah.
Great job.
I agree. But the opposite of useless, next episode that we get with the deleted scene is one of my favorites, if not my favorite episode. There's the rub. And it's between Paris and Rory. This is the scene that a lot of people went to battle with us saying that it was included in the episode. And hey, maybe when it aired it was, but it definitely is not included in the episode that we've seen. It's not on Netflix. I'm pretty confident it's not on the DVD box set, like buried within the episode, embedded in the episode. But it's just such a wonderful, wonderful scene. And it is a little long, but definitely worth it.
Samosa?
God, I'm stuffed.
I know.
I ate 4 meals in 2 hours.
Not a record, but respectable nonetheless. Anything in particular you want to watch?
I don't care. I don't usually watch TV, so anything's fine with me.
Okay.
That looks good.
You never settle on the first show. Makes you look desperate.
He likes you, you know.
Well, we've been going out for over a year. I guess I've grown on him.
Not Dean. Jess.
What?
Must be nice having 2 guys fawning over you.
I do not have 2 guys fawning over me.
Fine. 2 guys liking you.
I do not have 2 guys liking me. I have 1 guy liking me. The other guy is just a friend. Not even a friend. He's just here.
Well, I wouldn't mind having a here.
Well, then you would have nothing because that's all it is.
Okay. Why are we watching girls jumping on trampolines?
I mean, why would you even say that he likes me?
I don't know. He brought over enough food to feed Europe.
That was Luke, not Jess.
Well, he certainly didn't mind staying around to help you eat it.
That's just Jess. He plays games. He likes to annoy me.
Oh. Did he?
Of course. Majorly. I'm still bugged.
Oh. Weird.
What's weird?
Well, I don't usually invite people who annoy me to stay for dinner.
I didn't invite him. He just wouldn't leave.
You could have gotten rid of him if you really wanted to.
I was just trying to be nice.
I think you like him.
That's crazy. I mean, just because you don't kick someone out for dinner, that doesn't mean that you like them. Jeez.
Okay. But if you ever decide you do like him, I wouldn't blame you. He's unbelievably cute, and though his literary taste leaves a little to be desired, at least he has a literary taste. You sure you don't like him?
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. I need fries.
I love this scene. I absolutely
I think
love this
me
scene.
too.
It's so good. We get their sleepover. We get to see their friendship kind of blossoming. We get finally the delivery of the Indian food that's been talked about ad nauseum the entire episode.
Yeah. Like we find out where it's at.
And most importantly, Paris calls out Jess, he's not there, like liking Rory, and we get to see Rory's complete denial of it. Like complete denial of the situation. And when Paris flat out asks her if she likes him, she says, I have a boyfriend. Like, it's so telling watching Rory squirm because no one has really called her out on this yet. And Paris is, and she's doing it so unknowingly. She's just trying to have like kind of girl talk with her.
Yeah. She's not even really calling her out. She's just kind of like saying it. She's like, he likes you, you know? Yeah, he's my boyfriend. No, Jess. And she's like, what? Like,
Rory gets so
protest too much.
It's so, I love this scene. I love it. I love everything about it. Verdict is 1000% it should have been kept in.
Okay. But we talked about this then because this was when Paris, I also love when Paris is like, I wouldn't blame you. He is unbelievably cute.
Literally, she's like, I wouldn't blame you. And also, if you turn him down, please send him my number.
Yeah. Please let me know because I lied and said I was into him because I just became very into
honestly,
him.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah. But I think that if this scene had been in, like I love it so much, want to leave it in, it would create an implication in later episodes that wouldn't be as strong. Like when we get to Lorelai's graduation day and she is like, I don't know what came over me. And she's like, you like him. Yeah. And I think if this had been left in, it would have been like, yeah, Paris told you that. Like, why are you just now coming to this realization? Why are you still denying it? Yeah. So I think that had that been there, that scene would have needed to be different. Like there would have needed to be a different sort of conversation that they were having, I think, because someone would have already told her. Because I love what it is between her and Paris, and I love this like girlfriend moment of like it feels like they really are the best friends that we think they are in high school, or that we want them to be in high school.
Yeah.
But like I want to keep it, but I think that it would change too much of Rory's awareness of her own feelings and like kind of make her not malicious, but like she knows, like someone pointed out to her, even if she's denying it, it's been pointed out to her. To have it pointed out a second time is kind of like, well, at what point are you going to be honest?
Totally. No, I completely agree. It definitely gives the moment in Lorelai's graduation day more of a punch. And I think that despite the fact that I really love the scene, and I do think that, you know, if we had it, we still would have loved that it was there.
It still would have been good because I love this moment between the two of them. Like this is such a good moment between them. But I think the moment between Lorelai and Rory, where she's like, "You like him,"
it's
like
so much
as
more
painful as that
monumental.
is. Yeah.
Because
I want to keep it, and I even wrote that I was like, I want to keep this in so bad.
I know.
But I like
this is one of the ones that where I want to know why it hit the cutting room floor. I want to know the reason. You know, it's one of those ones where I'm like, was it for time? Was it because you wanted the reveal to be a little bit bigger and you wanted that conversation to be between mother and daughter, not between Paris and Rory? Why? Or was it purely just for time? They were like, oh, we don't know what to do. We can talk about this later. Maybe let's not reveal this right now. I'm really curious. I would like to know.
Yeah, me too. Especially because Sheila didn't know it had been cut.
I know.
She thought it was an episode.
Oh, which is so crazy. But God, I love this scene. And where I put the scene, because I watched the episode to see, you know, where it would have fit in. And I think it would have fit in between Lorelai and Emily having that fight at the 60-40 club. She's like, you let me get 60-40'd. And then they leave. The next scene is them at the hotel. And I think that that's where the scene would have fit in.
I think so.
It would have gone back and forth between the two of them instead of being a continuation of Lorelai and Emily, which I wonder how that would have kind of changed the vibe of the last half of the episode. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would want to like watch the episode, pause it, watch that scene and see how like it shifts the quickness between Lorelai and Emily's storyline. Yeah. And if maybe that was slowing that down and they cut it for that. But yeah, that's always one of those ones I'm like, oh, I love it, but I get it. I know. Unfortunately. It's so
I'm torn about it. I totally hear where you're coming from, but man, I loved it. Glad we have it. Glad we have it to savor on its own, you know? Anyway, the last scene in season 2 that was deleted from an episode was in the finale. I Can't Get Started. And at first I forgot which one this was until I watched it and I was like, oh, right. So this is between Lorelai and Christopher and Rory when they're coming out of the orthopedist after she gets her cast taken off.
God, it feels so light.
Yeah, and you can hardly tell that it's shrunk.
Mom.
No, really. Hands in pockets, long sleeves, you're good to go.
I'm gonna talk to Dad now, because I still like him.
Oh, sure. First Casty, now me. Teens are so fickle.
So how long can you stay?
Hey, I am here for the day and I'm willing to take you anywhere you want to go.
Italy.
Where do I want to go?
Italy. You want to go to Italy?
You cannot coach her.
I am her mother. It is my responsibility to train her in the ways of the world. Part of that training is to teach her that when a man says, I'll take you wherever you want to go, you always say Italy.
I got it. Come on.
Okay, see, this is so not Italy.
I thought she hated miniature golf.
What? Who could hate a dumbass sport like miniature golf?
Okay, I'm ready.
This is the thing you just had to do?
I know it's weird, but when I figured out that I had to wear a cast for 2 weeks, I started obsessing about all the things I wouldn't be able to do, and this just popped into my head and I couldn't get it out.
Oh, I know that feeling. It's like that ABBA song. Mamma mia, here I go again. Mama, how can I? Oh, great. Well, now it's back.
Please, everyone, I need silence. I need to concentrate on this great moment that I have been waiting for 2 weeks. Okay, done with that.
Wait, you don't want to do it again?
Nope. In fact, I'm a little humiliated that I did it in the first place. Tell no one, please.
My lips are sealed.
So they're walking out of the orthopedist's office and like Rory has got her cast off. She feels really good. And Christopher basically says like, I'll take you anywhere. Where do you want to go? What's the first thing you want to do? And she chooses mini golf, which was
Not Italy.
not Italy. Lorelai is really, really gunning for Italy, but Rory wants to go to mini golf. And they just arrive in kind of this like weird mini golf setup.
Back
It was almost
alley
like a
mini golf.
pop-up mini golf. And I was like, well, okay. Stars on the
was.
pop-up mini golf. And
It's like extra mini golf because it's only one hole.
it's just one. And she just does it. And she's like, okay, that's it.
mini putt-putt.
Yeah, like a
really?
little mini putt-putt. But it's
Yeah.
interesting because this scene happens and then like it's almost like the first half of a scene that we actually do end up getting. So halfway
Yeah.
through the scene is where they pick up after they're in the office and Christopher's like, hey, I'm dad, doctor. If we can make a suggestion, we'd like to keep the arm, please. You know, and then
Yeah.
Lorelai's just surprised to have him there. And then we would have gotten this scene, but it's a lead up into Christopher going, so where are we going to next? And, you know, they have a
Yeah.
conversation about what their weekend's going to look like. For that reason, it's a very interesting perspective to see where they cut the scene. I think they did the right thing. We did not need this mini
Absolutely.
golf thing at all.
It was weird.
Yeah. They kept
It,
the
like,
part that we
I
needed
think-
without deleting the whole scene.
Yeah. I think it slowed down the pacing.
It did. It kind of broke up
Like it
a finale that, in my opinion, is so well executed.
excellent.
It's so,
and I
so
think
good.
that that's a thing. It's like if they left it in, it's kind of like an innocuous scene where nothing really happens. But I think if they had left it in, I think it would have dragged the episode down because I feel like every scene that's in the finale is like hit after hit after hit. It's like everything's contributing. It's all building up to this. And it's like, let's slow it down for mini golf. Like, just feels
Here's the only reason I would have kept it is I feel like part of the purpose here, and this just dawned on me, is because I think that Amy was trying to show the audience, like, here is what it would look like if these three were a family. And if it had packed a
yeah.
little bit more of that, like, Rory being so excited to have both of her parents there, like, I'm just so happy you're both here. Something like that, I would have understood
Yeah.
why they wanted to potentially keep it in. I think that that was the intention, but it did feel more like a throwaway scene and like it kind of slowed down the narrative. But I think that the intention behind it was probably to show the audience, show the Gilmore Girls what it could be like if Christopher, what? Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my.
Richard.
Did slip.
If Christopher actually showed up and stepped up and was there because he is doing it. So
Yeah. It really emphasizes he's fun dad.
yeah, they kind of got it across again by like not deleting the scene in its entirety because they needed the setup of it, but by like cutting it off and starting it with Christopher going like, so where are we going to next? And like, I'm going to stay. I can stay. I can come to the engagement party. Let's do it. And Lorelai's like, okay, you know, it's so they got it across, but I think that the initial like, let's do mini golf felt very like, we're a family.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like he drops in, he takes her to get the dictionary, he does mini golf, he shows up to get your cast taken off. Like he's fun dad who's gonna make life great and grand, and now he's gonna stick around and he's gonna stay and he's gonna love your mom.
Mm-hmm.
JK.
He is not.
JK. And so like it could make that hurt, but I think that the dialogue was not, it wasn't serving finale.
No, I agree. I actually kind of forgot this was in the finale.
Yeah.
Admittedly. I was like, oh, right, Rory does get her cast off in the finale. Forgot.
Yeah. She only had her cast on for 2 weeks. Feels like she'd just have like a brace or something at that point.
I thought that she had to have it on for like 6 weeks.
But didn't she say here that she said, when I found out I had to wear a cast for 2 weeks, all I wanted to do was mini golf.
She says 2 weeks. Interesting. I don't remember what the number of weeks.
Yeah.
But oof. Yeah, that's a short period of time. Usually when you break a bone, you've got to have it on for at least 6.
Yeah. Because I think she fractured it. I don't remember.
To what extent? I think they said hairline fracture. So maybe they just needed, I don't know. We should call your brother.
I'll have to bring my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haley's brother is about to be an orthopedist. He's going to school.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's going to be an orthopedic surgeon.
That's exciting.
And
maybe he can be in the next episode of Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. I think he actually just graduated from medical school when this
airs.
Is airing.
Yeah. I'm so exciting.
Yeah. So congrats, Chase.
Good job, Chase. Anyway.
We'll call you in. The
Dr.
first and
Chase.
only time we can call him in.
Yeah. Phone a friend. Phone a doctor friend. Phone a doctor
Phone a
brother.
doctor friend. Yeah.
Phone a doctor.
Exactly.
We could pick a lot of people out of Haley's family with phone a doctor.
A lot of Dr. McIntoshes.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, so moving on to season 3, the first deleted scene is from Swan Song.
Oh my God, Swan Song, Charlie Swan, because that's Billy Burke.
It does have Billy Burke. Speaking of Billy Burke, this is a scene with Billy Burke.
Listen, I think this choice is good, but I need to make sure. So peek through the window and see what he's wearing so I can know if I'm in the right ballpark.
Do I have to?
I gave you life. I can take it away.
Purple jogging suit,
Get out of town.
slacks and a sweater, you're dressed perfectly, and now he thinks I'm somebody who enjoys waving at people cutely before I open the door for them.
Oh, hello. Hey. And hello again.
Hi.
Ready to go?
All set. If you can take this, I'll be right out. Hey, listen, run out there and tell him you're really curious to know what he's going to wear on the drive home and make it natural sounding.
Goodbye.
So this is actually after we talked about this on Patreon. I remember we talked about all of these scenes that are in season 3 on Patreon. This is when we really got with the program and we were like, oh right, yeah, there are deleted scenes we should probably talk about. But in Swan Song, it's so short. I believe this is also one of the shorter ones. It's like 45 seconds long. And this is after Lorelai puts on one of my favorite outfits that she wears in the entire series, which is her Bunny Ranch t-shirt. It's not a tee, it's like a long sleeve shirt, her Bunny Ranch shirt with her jeans. She just looks so cute. But
a little jacket.
Oh my God.
This was the one you were trying to tell me because I couldn't remember when we were talking about this before when we were prepping for the episode. You were like, it's the Bunny Ranch tee one. I was like, yeah, but that's in the episode. And you're like, no, it's the part before it. And I was like, what part before it?
And I said, when you see it, you're going to know.
Yeah, because I remember talking about this on Patreon and watching it and my brain inserted it into the episode and it was there.
Yeah. It's again, a blink and you miss it kind of situation.
Yeah. Because it has some really good lines.
It does.
She's like, I gave you life, I can take it away.
Oh, right.
And
she says that.
When Rory waves it, because Alex comes to the door, Lorelai wants Rory to see what he's wearing.
So she can give the verdict on whether or not what she's wearing is appropriate to drive to New York City in.
Yeah. They wave at each other. And she's like, now he thinks I'm someone who likes to cutesy wave through the window. And I don't know why, but that killed me when I first watched it.
Can I tell you what killed me upon rewatching this that I don't know if we talked about in the episode? Rory makes a joke about him wearing a purple jogging suit. Did you notice that?
Oh my gosh. I didn't connect it.
Well, in the next episode, that's when this is Face Off is the next episode.
Oh, okay. I thought this would have been after that. That would have been a good joke to make after.
It really would have, but I wonder if part of the reason it hit the cutting room floor is because the purple jogging suit was a big plot point in the next episode when Grant, of course, is kissing a man in a purple velour tracksuit.
Yeah.
It was just so interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can make decisions that quick about those things.
I know.
But
I have no idea.
I think it would have been weird for Rory to make that joke and then in the next episode, it's a purple tracksuit.
I think that's something that we would have caught in a Patreon rewatch. I don't know if that's something that would have been it was such a throwaway line. I don't know if that's something that people would have been like, oh, a purple jogging suit. He's wearing it, like Rory said in the last episode.
It's just such a random,
specific
a very specific outfit. So
yeah,
I don't know. But either way, my verdict was we didn't need this. It would have gone in between Lorelai putting on her Bunny Ranch shirt upstairs, hearing the, toot toot from Alex, and going downstairs, and then Rory arriving at Friday night dinner waiting for Jess with Emily.
Yeah.
So it would have gone in between there. I don't think we needed it. It's funny. It's cute. They probably could have kept it.
Yeah, my verdict was why not?
Yeah, like why?
Because it's like you can cut it because if you needed to cut something for time, this is the one. But like this is funny, this is silly. I love the wave through the window. It's
Come on,
great.
Evan Hansen.
And Rory Hansen, broken arm, perfect.
Would've
Blue
been
cast, nailed it. But I do think that I love the aspect of Alex and Lorelai in general of them like aligning their outfits. Like that becomes a later thing of like he kind of tells her and they like what to expect and that sort of thing. They kind of plan for it in the future. And I think that's really cute.
Yeah.
But like overall, I'm like, why not? Keep it in, get rid of it. It's cute. It's cute either way. But
Totally.
what a toss.
Yeah.
No real big opinions about it.
Yeah. Same. Except for the purple velour jogging suit or the regular purple jogging suit. I don't know if it was velour. No
Either
idea
one.
what fabric it was made out of.
Regardless,
no
it
idea what
was
the fabric
purple.
content was, but it was fun. It was
Should
cute.
we get those? Should we get those for our live
That would be
shows?
fun. Purple jogging suit.
Yeah. Or rather, we should have a man dressed in a purple jogging
Yeah.
suit.
We'll put Brett in a
We'll
purple
invite Billy
jogging suit.
Burke.
Oh, perfect.
We could do Brett, but I think if we invite Billy Burke in a purple jogging suit, that would be
Oh, that's
that'd be
true.
a hit.
It would be really funny if we had a like male guest for our live show, and if they were wearing a purple jogging suit, and then we were wearing the tracksuits that say "juicy" on the rear end and "tasty" on the shirt.
Perfect. Athleisure.
This is our new Gilmore to
That's-
say athleisure line.
Which we entirely
Coming soon.
copied.
Yeah. Which we came up with completely on our own.
It's completely original idea.
Original concept by Tara and Haley, the girlies. Anyway, next episode that has a deleted scene in season 3 is Say Goodnight, Gracie. And I forgot about this one. I was Swan Song and Say Goodnight, Gracie were the two that I was like, I don't remember these. And I fully did. And this is when Emily and Richard have a movie night with Rory, which is mentioned in the episode. Lorelai says it to Suki because she's been trying to get back in contact with her mom, of course, after everything that happens in Happy Birthday Baby, with her giving her the check to pay her back and saying, you know, we'll come by for the occasional Friday night dinner. And Emily is like, no, I don't want you to. And so there's kind of a rift there. And earlier in the episode, Lorelai makes the bold decision to call her mom and say hi and ask how she's doing. And Emily asks to speak to Rory. May I speak with Rory? She's like, no, I called you. You can't ask to speak
You'll have to
to
call
Rory.
back.
Oh my God. And so
Because then the phone rings and she's like, it's
for
for you.
Yeah. And so Lorelai is explaining to Suki that, you know, they're having Rory over for a movie night. This is when they stumble upon Weston's Bakery and see that Fran has passed. And so I think this scene takes place sometime after that when Rory goes to Friday night dinner.
There she is.
Hey, Grandma.
Well, come on in.
You look like you're up to something.
Do I? I wonder what that could be.
Oh, my God.
Ta-da!
What did you do?
We promised you movie night.
Yes, but movie night at our house usually means a videotape and leftover Chinese food.
Well, then it's time to shake things up a little, isn't it?
Your ticket, miss.
Thank you.
Your ticket, madam.
Thank you.
Your ticket, sir.
Thank you.
Shall we?
Your ticket, miss.
What? Oh.
Your ticket, madam. Enjoy the movie. Your ticket, sir. Enjoy the movie.
May we sit now?
Anywhere you like.
What are you grinning at?
You two are nuts.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Popcorn?
Oh, absolutely. So what are we seeing tonight?
3 movies picked especially for you. Crossroads, Glitter, and since I've heard you talk so much about it, Billy Jack.
Wow.
So, should we start with that one?
No, let's save that for, Crossroads sounds good.
Yes, it does. Powerful.
You heard the ladies. Crossroads it is. Rory,
Yes, Grandpa.
I certainly hope you've turned your pager and cell phone off.
Yes, we're very strict about that here.
Most classy establishments are.
Well, that doesn't look right.
It's out of focus.
Sorry, just let me adjust this here.
You're making it worse. Turn it the other way.
I'm getting a headache.
There's something wrong with the projector.
Well, there better not be something wrong with that projector. I paid a fortune to rent it. Let me look.
Don't worry, your grandfather will figure this out.
You guys did not have to go to all this trouble just for me, Grandma.
Well, we like to go to all this trouble just for you. We would do anything for you. Remember that when your birthday comes, it's an excellent bargaining chip.
You know, if you really wanted to do something for me,
Yes?
you could maybe ease up on Mom a bit. She really didn't mean to hurt your feelings, and she's been trying to make up. I'm not saying you have to do or say anything right now. I'm just asking you to maybe, I don't know, next time she reaches out and makes a call, maybe just take it. Anyhow, this is really great. Thank you.
Ah, got it. I got it.
What was the matter?
Oh, this machine is just a little temperamental. You know how show people are. Don't touch that thing, okay? Okay. Let's see the movie. Well, you touched it. You touched that thing.
I didn't, I swear.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Popcorn, please.
I think this scene is hilarious. We talked about it on Patreon. It's so Emily and Richard. Basically, they're having a movie night, and Richard and Emily have pulled out all the stops. I think that Lorelai and Rory, like when they say movie night, they're very used to just like getting a bunch of snacks and chilling on the couch.
Which Rory says.
Yeah. And they kind of take it to a whole new level. They have like a bellhop movie theater.
There's an usher.
An usher. Thank you. I was like, what's the word?
Yeah.
An usher.
There's a whole ass usher there.
He's in uniform.
To give them their tickets.
Yeah, he gives them tickets. He
takes
makes
their tickets.
Yeah, he makes them give them back to him. He stops them as they're about to take a step forward. Tickets? So funny.
If there's anyone else there.
I know.
I don't know.
But they
He's
have a
committed to
popcorn
his
machine.
job.
It's giving like it's giving like the Gilmore edition of the Black, White, and Red movie theater.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
And
which
it's
I love.
cute.
It's very cute. They have things
they're
on
excited.
film. And I love the
Yeah.
movies that they pick. They pick Crossroads, Glitter, and Billy Jack. And Billy Jack,
Yeah,
of course,
because-
is a movie that they watch with Max Medina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. And I love that they say that because it just like they're so excited about it because they're like, oh, that's that one you mentioned. And Rory's like, okay, let's start with Crossroads, which I love the idea of Emily watching Crossroads.
Oh my God, me too. Well, remind me, do you remember when they mentioned Crossroads? Because these are, I believe they mentioned Crossroads before this because with Glitter, they mentioned it in season 2 in the episode. I think it's The Ins and Outs of Inns, or it's the episode where
controls the weather.
What?
I heard he controls the weather and wrote the screenplay to Glitter.
It's when Jess is basically being scrutinized in a town meeting and she says, I heard he controls the weather and wrote the screenplay to Glitter. And then Billy Jack, of course, is from the episode with Max, and they're trying to have a movie night with him because he's going to be an honorary Gilmore boy. I want to know where Crossroads is mentioned because I feel like that was intentional.
Yeah. I feel like one of you probably know
let
when
us
they
know.
mentioned Crossroads before the finale of 3.
But it's
Or,
on
I guess,
film.
end of 3.
I love that it's on
Yeah.
film. And one of my favorite parts is that Richard keeps arguing with the usher because he's like, just don't touch that thing. Well, you touched the thing.
Yeah. I like his explanation for it after he fixes it. He says, you know how show people are, which is Ed Herman and Kelly Bishop are show people, Broadway people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know they're actors and they're in this TV show, but it just felt like very like show people I always think of like Broadway, like theater people.
Totally.
And so I like always feel like that's about them.
A little nod about them. But they have this
even though
brief
they are watching
conversation,
movies.
Emily and Rory, while Richard is at the projector with this usher, where Rory basically says, I would really like if you could lighten up on Mom. And I understand and appreciate the nuance of the situation because, you know, in the next episode, Those Are Strings, Pinocchio, things are seemingly okay between Lorelai and Emily. And after the conversation that they have in this episode earlier, where she asks to talk to Rory and Emily, calls back, I think that it would have made some sense that she's like kind of being a little softer with Lorelai. But admittedly, I didn't really have that question between watching Say Goodnight, Gracie and this Those Are Strings, Pinocchio, the finale. Like, I never asked that question to myself of, why is Emily suddenly okay with Lorelai? So it wasn't necessarily a plot hole to me.
No.
I just felt like they kind of decided things were going to smooth over, and then by the time we get to Ballrooms and Biscotti, there's still a little bit of tension there. So those blanks were kind of filled in, and for that reason, I gave it the verdict of we didn't need it. There were so many things going on in that episode that I just felt like this wasn't necessary. Because
Yeah.
Arguably, the scene that's either before it or after it is when Luke goes to see Jimmy Mariano. This is when we meet Jimmy, Jess's dad.
Yeah.
And so that I felt was the central focus and kind of setup of the episode was everything that was going on between Jess and Rory. Of course, everything that's going on with Lorelai and Suki and Fran passing in the inn and the funeral. Like, there's just so much. And the mention of Emily and Lorelai still having a bit of a, weird relationship. They're talking about prom at Chilton. Like, it's just, there's so much going on. I don't think we needed this.
Yeah. It's cute, but again, where it fits in the episode, I feel like it slows it down.
Yeah.
It just doesn't go with everything else that's happening. And I remember we talked about this when we watched it on Patreon, but I feel the same, which is that it feels so after school special. Like, you really should lighten up a mom. Like, and Rory
the conversation was
tend
clunky.
to do that.
It was a clunky conversation.
And I even feel like that way about the way that Ed was getting up and down of like, don't touch that thing. Like, it felt like filler dialogue almost. Like, even the way that he was saying it didn't feel right. Yeah.
At this point in the
was
season,
so funny,
with
but
this build up,
so cute.
It was very cute. But like, we didn't need filler. We don't need filler at this point. Y'all already gave us filler in season 3.
There's so much
Plenty
going
on.
on.
We've arrived at the point where we don't need it anymore. So
yeah,
I
would say
totally
this is
agree.
like, to me though, like, this is the epitome of a bonus scene.
That's
like, it's
the
a scene
thing.
that we did not need at all, but it's so cute to watch this like extra little dynamic of things going on.
I agree.
And so I feel like this is the perfect bonus scene.
It is.
Additional scene.
Yeah.
Deleted
Same
scene.
with there's the rub. Like,
Yeah.
we get these kind of lengthy scenes that could have changed the tone of the episode, but didn't need to, and thus are a nice little additional scene, a nice little treat, if you will.
A little treat. A little season 3 treat.
Yeah.
Which we need.
Yes.
Do we need? Because this one has so many bonus scenes.
Yes. So the next episode actually has 2 bonus scenes, and it's the season finale. Those are Strings Pinocchio. The first one is at Chilton graduation, and it answers a lot of questions for us that we had on Patreon.
I suppose your mom and grandparents are coming?
Plus a few friends from Stars Hollow.
So Goober got somebody to watch the pumps?
Gomer's covering.
Big time awkwardness out there.
What?
Every woman my father has ever married showed up.
Bummer.
We can't give out a courtesy invite anymore without people misinterpreting.
Hey, which one is your actual mother?
Dolores. No. Yeah, Dolores.
That's weird. You look more like Kiki or Esther.
So, Rory, you're valedictorian, I'm salutatorian.
That's right.
Hey, Val.
Hey, Sal.
Neat.
So we get a glimpse into like the Chilton grads on their last day. And I love the dynamic we get between like Paris, Madeline, and Louise. Louise can't remember which of her dad's wives is her actual mom, which fucking cracks me up. It's Dolores.
Yeah, but I love when Madeline's like, but you look so much like, I think
Kiki
she says
or
Rita?
Esther.
Kiki. Yeah, something. Yeah, Kiki. And like, Louise is kind of like, oh.
Yeah, you're right.
It's cute. And then she runs into Brad Langford.
Rory runs into Brad Langford, who reveals that he's the salutatorian, which was a giant question mark for us. And really explains a lot about Brad Langford's bungs. Like, it makes so much sense. We never knew why he was.
What are you doing up there?
Yeah, what are you doing up there? And it's because he's the salutatorian. And this answers that question. And so for that reason, I feel like we needed this.
Yes.
We totally needed
the way
this
that he
scene.
says it, though, is like, hi, Val. And she's like,
Hi,
so
Sal.
hateful.
Yeah, she hates it. She's like, hey, Sal. And then he
Hi,
goes, "Neat,"
Sal.
and walks away.
It's so quick. It's such a little bite of a scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, just proves who Brad is and then explains what Brad is doing up there. Also, only raises further question of how did he end up the salutatorian?
Yeah.
Having missed so much school and gone to
do Into
another
the
school and
Woods.
come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get
Lots
it.
of questions there, but regardless, loved it.
Oh, I
Wanted to
loved
keep
it.
So small.
Here's what I wish they had done, because I understand that they, maybe didn't want to cut back and forth so much. Like, oh, we're going to the Chilton grads. Then we're going to the arrival of Lorelai and Suki and Jackson and Luke for the ceremony. And then Lorelai goes back and we see the grads again. Like, I think that it would have been cool if they had blended this scene with the one where we get Paris's nanny and her children.
Yeah.
And then eventually Lorelai sees Rory. It could have been nice to get the arrival of, Rory's posse And then we get all of this behind the scenes with Madeline, Louise, Paris can see her nanny's kids. We get the establishment that Brad Langford is a salutatorian. And then, you know, Rory turns and her mom is there asking where the valedictorian is. So like, it kind of would have made sense. And I wish that we could have blended them to have this scene in there. Even if it wasn't a standalone scene, if it was an kind of a continuation of, or like a precursor, if you will, to the scene we actually get in the edit.
Yeah, that would have been a really beautiful one shot.
I know.
To have done that.
Yeah.
Like it just would have made sense for it to be there. I don't mind so much the quick cuts between scenes because this episode is really fast paced. And I think that's why we like it so much. But so I wouldn't have minded so much of like the switching between point of view, but I think it would have been a really beautiful blend to put all of that moment into one, to get a little bit of everyone. A little bit of Madeline Louise, a little bit of Brad Langford rather.
Yeah.
And then to get Paris with her nanny and Lorelai walking in. It just would have been a nice little moment. But
Totally.
Yeah.
I fully
keep it
agree.
in.
Speaking of one shots, the second deleted scene that we got in Those Are Strings Pinocchio is what I believe was probably meant to be the final scene of the season.
I think so too.
Could be gone when we get back or turn into something else. John said a school might buy it.
That'd be nice.
I suggested a strip club.
Well, maybe they could combine the two. Kids get it during the day and strippers get it at night.
Both groups like swinging on poles.
True. Hey, should we have brought a camera?
No, I don't want to remember it like this.
Rory, don't run around the lobby.
But this is our house.
Not for long.
10 years we lived here and you didn't want to leave.
Well, of course, I was a Connecticut Eloise.
I've got you, Munchkin, I've got you.
Are we gonna live here forever?
No, we'll have our own house one day.
Took you a while to accept that our new house didn't come with a bellhop.
I had very high standards.
You're going to have your own room.
But I don't want my own room.
Just your books need their own room.
We're not gonna be sad, right?
Oh, we're too busy.
Yeah, and we have too much not to be sad about.
That we do.
I want to live with you forever.
Whatever you say, baby Jane.
You know, I read something crappy in the Let's Go Europe book.
Oh, what?
If the hostels get too crowded, they can't guarantee we'll be assigned to the same room.
Really? Just let them try to separate us.
Yeah, they won't be happy.
Our secret knock-on-the-wall language will have them begging us to be together.
So I have so much to say about this.
Okay.
Because I think that the idea was smart. I think that Amy is known for a one shot. So for those of you who maybe haven't seen it or aren't joining us on YouTube, this is a shot, a sequence that I think has, like a lot of people have seen online.
I think this one is one of the most popular. In addition to There's the Rub, I think this is the one that people have seen the most.
I agree. So Lorelai and Rory are walking through an empty Independence Inn, and they are kind of walking through the lobby, reminiscing about all of the ways in which they spent their time here and Rory grew up here. And it's intermixed, like this entire scene is shot in one take. And it's basically like Lorelai and Rory, Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel walking through as young Lorelai from Dear Emily and Richard, and a little girl who is supposed to be Rory are also walking through as well. And it kind of like switches off between like past them and current them. And I think that the idea was smart. I understand why Amy wanted to do that. I think the execution was clunky, and for that reason, I can see why it hit the cutting room floor. I think that they watched that. I can imagine Amy watched that back and was like, that's not the way I saw this going. It doesn't look right.
Yeah. It looks really, the execution of it looks really community theater.
Yeah.
Like that's really the only way I can explain it, of like the way that they're talking, the way that they're like moving in and out of each other, the fact that it's empty. Like you would think that the furniture would return when young Lorelai and Rory are walking through it, that it wouldn't be nothing there. So like the thought process, I get it. But the
Mm.
execution doesn't make a ton of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I also always think this girl is Vanessa Hudgens, but like she's would have been too young to be this girl at this time. She
Yeah.
always reminds me of her.
Yeah, she does
But
kind of.
yeah, but regardless, I just don't feel like it made a ton of sense. I loved the idea behind it.
Oh,
Like
same.
it felt like really beautiful, like full circle
Totally.
moment. But ultimately, I just think that the quality of it just felt wrong. I also don't think that it felt right in the episode. Like it didn't fit the tone of everything else that was going on. Like I like the way that it ended because it felt like we were ending on like a hopeful way forward rather than too much of a reflection on the past, because when they're here, it kind of feels like they're reminiscing on what used to be. And the way that it ends with Lorelai and Rory at Chilton being like, it's not so scary anymore, feels like they're reflecting on what was and how things are now, and they're just moving forward with their life. Because we've always talked about like if they would have ended Gilmore Girls after season 3, it would have been fine. Like we wrapped up really nice, everything felt really good, but I think to end on that would have just felt, it would have brought the energy down for some reason for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I do think that it still would have felt like a button, like an end of a chapter, and I think that was the intention, was to kind of pay homage to this place that like not only did they grow up in, but we kind of grew up with these girls in this space as an audience, you know? We are saying goodbye to
But
the
not from
Independence
that
Inn.
point. Like not that far back.
No,
you know, it's
definitely
more of
not.
like a,
but
yeah.
you know, I wish it had been executed maybe a little bit more like, and this is giving the revival a salute, because there are a lot of parts of the revival that I don't totally love, but there is that
Really?
moment where Rory walks through Emily's house and she's at the dining room table and the glimpses back of Friday night dinner start to play. And
Yeah.
if it had been executed maybe a little bit like more like that, maybe it would have packed a different punch, because my verdict was maybe we needed this scene differently. You know,
I think so.
It because we didn't really get a goodbye to the Independence Inn. They talk about it in, gosh, what's that episode? I don't remember the name of it because I don't watch the end of season 3 very often. But we get a little bit of that when Lorelai shows up to Suki and Jackson's and is like, we're celebrating, the Independence Inn is closing. And it's like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. We never go back there again. And so, yeah, I'm torn about it because I wonder if we needed it differently, not necessarily needing the scene in that exact moment, but if we could have gotten it elsewhere and if it could have been executed in a less clunky fashion, if it may have served a better purpose, if we needed to bid goodbye to it. It does reveal that those girls were there for 10 years. Not that we necessarily needed that, but they do mention that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess it also didn't really make a lot of sense because young Lorelai and young Rory are walking through the Independence Inn when it's empty.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because I was about to say, I think that this scene suffered at the hands of Amy wanting it to be a one shot, all in one. That I think it could have been really cool to do transitions, like they walk through, they like walk one way and they're turning, and when they turn, the inn is full of furniture and full of people, and you see Rory and Lorelai in their scene, and when they turn around it's empty. Like there was a way to like make the transitions so that the inn felt full of life, like it was when they were there, because that's really what we needed to focus on, is that they lived in this inn, as Rory says, Connecticut Eloise, which I love that line. I love Eloise so much. Yeah. And so I think it almost needed to like turn, and the inn itself needed to change, because I think that was like the hard hitting part, is that they were in an empty inn, and they were not in an empty inn when they lived there. And I think that was the point we needed to drive home, is that this was their home.
Yeah.
And now it's not, because it's completely empty.
Yeah.
But it also was like burnt.
I know.
So it was like part of it was like kind of a little blocked off and destroyed. So maybe it would have been really fun to like have part of it that was like a little bit broken down, and then like turn around and see it in its heyday when they lived there when they were younger, rather than like letting the idea suffer to a one shot that didn't quite make so much sense.
I totally understand that. Yeah. I wonder if, I mean, Amy loves a one shot, so this may not have crossed her mind, but I wonder if that was something maybe she wanted to do. And I know she's mentioned a lot that they didn't have a lot of money. And maybe, you know, the WB was like, no, that's too expensive to do. And she was like, all right, well, we're going to try to do it in a one shot. And it just didn't work out. And I'm glad that they cut this. I really am. It's clunky. It feels a little after school special, similarly to what you were saying about the one in Say Goodnight, Gracie. And I also think it's a testament to seeing some raw footage, because that's what we're getting. We're not getting any music.
Yeah.
This was not edited. Like, this was genuinely like, show them what we shot. And there's no music, nothing. It's completely silent. And subsequently you can hear, like, when young Lorelai and Rory come skipping through and then it cuts to Alexis and Lauren, you can still hear the two of them walking away. Like, there's no mystery whatsoever. There's no music, nothing.
Like, why can't you guys see them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because they're walking right past you. So
where's a la? Where's a strum?
Yeah. Someone did do an edit with music, but it still doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So my verdict is no.
No.
Delete it. Cut it.
What is it they do in Pitch Perfect? Cut off.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
It just popped back into my mind.
Excuse me? Oh, I can never.
Stop. No, we're done.
So
we're done. No.
Anyway,
okay.
let's go on. Let's move on to season 4.
4.
So we have 2 deleted scenes in season 4. The first is in Ballrooms and Biscotti. And we talked about this a lot on Patreon, because when we started, you know, in the fall, I remember thinking that this scene was in the episode, and it totally wasn't.
Because it makes so much sense.
It really does.
Lane! Rory! Oh, you're back.
You're here.
I know. Where else would I be?
I don't know. Summer's a scary time at the Kim house. Lots of shipping people off to Korea.
Not this year. We have to get ready for college. Seventh-day Adventist college that I'm going to go to. For 4 whole years while I live at home with my mother. It's going to be very exciting. Am I smiling?
Not exactly.
Yeah, well, at least I learned how to not burst into tears.
Okay, let's talk about something else. How's Dave doing?
Gone. You're very good at this cheering up thing.
Off to college already.
He left last week. But we're going to try the long-distance romance thing. You know, he's going to be home at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Plus, we're working on a plan to get me out to California.
Really?
Yes, it's complicated. NATO is involved.
Oh. Well, so fill me in. What's been going on in the States? I feel so cut off.
Okay, well, I suppose you heard about Liz Phair.
She's got an Avril on us.
The Matrix got her.
Those guys are like the Wraith, out to destroy all good music.
It's awful.
Yeah. What, her selling out?
And her album, it's awful.
See, I never thought this would happen. I feel so sad and lost. This is what being an adult must feel like.
Lane, put this with the rocking chair. Rory, you came back.
Yes, nice to see you again, Mrs. Kim. Looks like you've got a great sale here. You have some very nice pieces. And I like the setup. Outdoors, it's in nature, very buyer-friendly. Oh, no, this isn't mine. I mean, the button's mine, but the baby's not mine. It's Jackson's. And Suki's. It's Jackson and Suki's baby. I just have this button. I mean, Jackson gave this to me because he wants to be like Ricky Ricardo and Dick Van Dyke, and my mom touched the Pope.
So all of us know that Rory is wearing the I do not want to know the sex of my baby button, and she got it from Jackson.
Yeah.
And then the two of them leave Jackson and Suki's, and I believe they leave with the jam to give to Luke. They get it from Suki's pantry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they get the jam, and Lorelai's going to Luke's, and Rory's like, oh, I'm going to go say hi to Lane.
Yeah.
And then it cuts, and we never see Lane, and I was like, wait. I know we saw Lane.
I know.
Like, where is she? Where's she at?
What's
and
she doing?
Because it was in this deleted scene.
Exactly.
That we see Lane.
So Rory stops at Lane's to say hi. She's wearing her button. And she and Lane have this whole like, oh my God, you're here. You didn't go to Korea, which was so funny because that was kind of like a season, like between season 1 and season 2 thing of like, I'm being shipped off to Korea. And we get the reveal, like the confirmation that Lane is going to the Seventh-day Adventist college. Rory asks about Dave and she says, he's gone. He left for college, but we're trying long distance. I'm going to try to get out to California. NATO might be involved. And then Mrs. Kim comes out and like raises a lot of eyebrows at her button, to which Rory is like, oh, no. No, not the sex of I don't have a baby. This is Jackson's baby. He wants to be like, you know, the guys with the cigar and like Ricky Ricardo, and that's kind of it. They also have a conversation about Liz Phair, Lane and Rory, but it's just such a good scene that answers a lot of questions that we had.
Yeah.
And
I love that Ms. Kim doesn't have to say much at all.
She barely says a word. She does it all with her eyebrows.
Like, it's Jackson's with Suki.
Yeah.
It's like hers.
It's so
just
funny.
good.
I really liked it. And my verdict was we should have kept it.
Yeah.
It
Why not
belonged in
have
the
more
episode.
Lane? Yeah. It felt like it fit perfectly. It didn't make the episode suffer for not having been there.
Yeah.
But it just left this big hole of like, I'm gonna go see Lane. And then never seeing her and having it there. It just felt like a nice little addition.
It did.
I liked checking in.
Yeah.
I liked getting the little Lane update, the little life update, what was going on with her.
It made me realize that they tried to answer the question about like the absence of Dave on the outset instead of when they did, which was a couple episodes later, with Zach being like, no, Dave went off to college. He went to college and he left us. And it's like, you know, that execution through.
Yeah, we're like, we got it.
We get it. He's gone. But like we could have had it here and it felt a little more natural for Rory to come back from a summer of backpacking, not know what's going on with her friend and be like, hey, so like what's going on with Dave? And she's like, he's gone. He left. He's at college, but we're going to try to make it work, kind of a thing. Like to explain it at the beginning of the season, which does answer the question that like Adam Brody was not going to be coming back. Because at first I remember thinking like, oh, did they think they were going to get him? And then they realized they weren't. So like they had to create this whole scene with Zach and Brian.
Because it's not until episode 4 in Chicken or Beef that we find out that he is not coming back. Because that's when she goes to Lane's and she runs into the band.
But the way that they frame that scene is that this is the first time Lane and Rory are seeing each other since she got back.
Yeah. And that's the other weird thing, because the way that this happens in this conversation, it's very clearly something that Rory would have known. Rory would have known that Dave was going to college and that he was going to college in California. And the way that this is presented is not expositional. It's very much like, oh, yeah, he's gone to college. I'm going to try and make it out to California. But it wasn't like he's in California. I will go out there to where he is.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Just
yeah,
felt
I
really
wish we had this
natural.
scene. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I know. That's okay. And then the last scene, which we did discuss in depth on Patreon, and I think we mentioned last week or the week before in our
the
Jason episode,
Yeah.
is from the Reigning Lorelai between Suki, Lorelai, and Jason.
Oh, the food is great, Suki.
Oh, good. You think there's enough?
Plenty. But only, what's with the waiters?
What?
They all look a little depressed.
It's a funeral.
Yeah, but not theirs.
Oh, okay. How about they still look serious, but with a hint of things will be better tomorrow?
Yeah, that's good. Ante it up a bit.
You got it.
Hey there, Jason.
Hey, it's a beautiful spread.
Thank you. What did you think of the ceremony?
Touching. Very, very touching.
And the part where the Reverend forgot where he was?
A much-needed flash of levity. Although, on the whole, I thought he did an excellent job. The whole service was dignified and emotional, but not maudlin. How am I doing?
A little too well for my liking.
Did you get my flowers?
Yes, I did. Thank you. They're beautiful.
I'm gonna go find my partner. I'll catch up to you later.
Okay.
Levity?
So Suki's at the funeral, and we knew this because Suki was catering, and she's kind of like sporadically inserted throughout the episode with the mock turtle soup, and you know, coming and seeing Emily
and when
having
Emily's
a complete
losing her mind
meltdown. Yeah, and so we get to see Suki actually like executing what she's there to do. This scene definitely takes place. I went back and rewatched the episode to see like where it would fit in, and there's a moment when Lorelai and Rory meet Marilyn, who of course is played by the same actress that played Gran, and she's starting to ask her about the bar glasses, and Lorelai says something to the effect of, I'm gonna go check on the caterers. And she goes to see Suki because she feels like the caterers look like not chipper and perky.
Yeah, they look really sad.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's a funeral. She was like, not their funeral.
So she's like,
so
okay.
she says that she wants them to look like somber, but like
hopeful.
That tomorrow will be better
Yeah.
or something like that. And I was like, that's actually really good.
Sure. Yeah.
What does that look like on my face though?
I know, just like, oh man, I know. But
yeah,
tomorrow is another day. It'll be okay. I guess comforting, less like sad, more just
Yeah.
comforting. But the reason that we both, I think at the time, said that we would have liked to see the scene stay is because we get to see Jason, and we get to see the way that Jason interacts with Lorelai in this capacity, because a lot of the conversation surrounding Jason in this episode is about the ways in which he shows up for Richard. And yes, Richard is his business partner, but also Lorelai has suffered a death in her family. And part of the reason why it was really hard for us to see the evolution of them as partners is because we don't really see Jason show up during these emotionally vulnerable moments. And what I did appreciate about this scene is that when they run into each other, she's like kind of being cheeky and cute and quippy because he says he doesn't do funerals. And she says, well, you better like pretend like you were there. And she's kind of quizzing him in a way and like making small talk with him as if anybody else would about the funeral to kind of test him. And he knocks it out of the park. But he does
a great job. Kind of makes you confused a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, were you
there or not?
But I actually really would have preferred if he was like, I was actually there. And she was like, oh, you showed up. Because he says he sent her flowers, which I think was really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about this a lot on Patreon.
Or no, we talked about this a lot in the Jason episode. We added this to the flags. I don't remember if we identified it as a deleted scene when we talked about it, but it was like, it kind of like swayed a lot of my feelings about Jason.
Yeah.
When we were talking about him. And my verdict is that we should have left it in.
I agree.
Because I liked getting the scene with Jason. It felt weird that we never really saw him again. I liked getting the closure with Suki. It was kind of like a funny little scene. And it spoke a lot to their relationship, unfortunately. In a way I don't think they expected it to come across.
Totally. I wrote, did we need it? Not necessarily, but I wanted more from Jason if we got it.
Yes. It's kind of a why not. It's kind of like the same thing as the, which one? The one from Swan Song. It's kind of like, why not?
Why not? Yeah, keep it in there.
Yeah.
Why not?
If you had to cut it for time, okay, I get it. It's kind of short. But why not? Throw it in.
Totally agree. So, honestly, all of the ones from season 4 we wanted to keep, probably because we love season 4 so much.
We love season 4. Anything more from season 4.
Yeah, it's true.
More. Season 4.
More. So we
As
had...
the crowd was chanting, more.
Yes. So we had 13 deleted scenes in 4 seasons. That at least the ones that were aired to the public and given to us. I'm sure there were tons of things that hit the cutting room floor, but
there might be others, but these were definitely the ones that were referenced in the box set.
Yeah. And of those, we said we could keep, okay, so 5 we felt definitively we could have kept in, which means that 8 of them, we were like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be a bye. Yeah. Well, it's almost like, I feel like it's almost like 5 of them we said definitely. 2 of them we said we like that they are nice bonus scenes, like 2 or 3 of them. And then the rest of them we were like, nope, we're good. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Don't need ya.
Don't need ya. Wouldn't want to be ya, as Tara feels.
And one of the ones we actually said we didn't need was from Suki and Jackson's wedding episode, which their anniversary is coming up.
May 19th.
May 19th. And what better way to celebrate than to have a Suki and Jackson episode? We haven't had one of those yet.
I know.
We've only really talked about Suki. I know. Kathy has been wanting a Suki episode. You know who else has been wanting a Suki episode? Nancy.
Really?
Nancy has been wanting a Suki and Michelle episode.
Even from my TikTok days, my mom was like, why don't you make any TikToks about Suki?
Your mom came to Suki to our live event.
She did.
She loves Suki.
For some reason, she just really wants a Suki episode. So you know what, Mom? This one's for you.
This one's for you.
And for Nancy. This is Mom and Nancy.
This is for Kathy and Nancy. And we'll have more to say on that in the next episode.